Good morning, everyone. Welcome to On the Couch. Of course, it's Saturday, March 4th. We are going to get started this morning. Welcome to all of our listeners. Welcome to those that are watching us live. I hope your week was productive. Your weekend, I hope, is just as wonderful and relaxing. And we're going to get started and we're going to talk about our part 2 about police brutality and the traumatic effects on Black and Brown communities, as well as post traumatic slave syndrome, we're going to talk about. So I'm going to bring in my fabulous two co hosts, Miss Rajanta and Miss Sanella, and we are going to get started and talk about this topic that was very heavy that we talked about 2 weeks ago. Let's get started, ladies. Good morning. Good morning. How are you wonderful ladies doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome back, Sanella, because I know our wonderful watchers and listeners, miss you as well. So we miss your voice, and I'm so glad that you're back with us this morning, and to talk about our heavy topic this morning. But before we get started with that, this month is Women's Month. Is that true, ladies?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. It's all about us. We deserve it though. I
Yes.
think we need 365. What y'all think? A whole year, right?
Every
Absolutely.
day.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Be going through this world, being a Black woman in this world, a brown woman in this world can be very, very tough. So listen, kudos to us for this month. So Sanella, did you I know you were going over some affirmations that you were sharing earlier. So I was wondering if you could share that with our followers this morning about those.
So the one that I like for today is it's talking about a queen. So it says, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. And that was said by Miss Oprah Winfrey. I love that because we are all queens in our own right. And we should all carry a lot of aspirations, goals, and dreams, and we kind of need each other to, well, it would be a benefit if we could have each other to support in those matters.
Absolutely. I want to say, in
Mm-hmm.
addition to my love for Miss Oprah Winfrey, I want to say that quote was beautiful. Just because of the different failures we have and how it really contributes to our experiences and just the people that we become. Just different failures we've had in different ways that we have learned from them, different ways we have grown from them, and
Hmm.
just how we kind of utilize that to just become bigger, better, and stronger. So that really resonates with me when I think about my life and my past and just different trials and tribulations I've been through, how I've come through them, even though sometimes I didn't think I would even make it through them. And with
Yeah.
that being said, I've used that to really be a stepping stone with everything that I've kind of done as I've gotten older, as I've grown older and mature.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. I mean, being a woman overall, we know as we're children, little girls, one day we know we're going to be a woman. But what does that mean? Is there meaning behind that? What does that look like? When you have a woman in front of you, what we go through, the personal things, the physical things, all of the changes that we go through. And even when you think about childbirth in itself, it's a very scary experience. I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, and then when I got to the end of it, I said, oh my God, what is this? But it's an experience that you go through as a woman.
Yes. You
Yeah.
know what? When you said that, as we were children, we're thinking about, I don't even think when I was younger, I even thought about that. I think I was like kind of constantly in survival mode. So I couldn't kind of see, okay, what it would look like when I kind of got older, what my family would look like as when I got older. So I guess those things, those thoughts kind of really didn't resonate with me because I was too busy just trying to get to the next, space in my life. So,
Hmm.
and I wish I would have thought it out more, like what I wanted, and I guess just different expectations I had. But I think I really didn't have time. I don't think I really had time for that at that moment
But
in my life.
that's so the benefit of today and change is that those opportunities are now there. You
Yes.
know, you have those. those experiences that you could share with your children or your daughter and other women that you come into contact with. You have that opportunity to share it, maybe with them at even a younger age than what you were able to
Yes.
get. So
Yes.
Yeah.
that's the difference today. It wasn't all lost. It wasn't in vain because you gained that experience. You can share with someone else and help someone possibly not have to go through what you
Hmm.
went through.
Absolutely.
That is
Absolutely.
so true. That is the true statement. And we're definitely going to revisit discussing, Women's Month before we conclude our show for today. But
Hmm.
moving into the heavier topic is about police brutality. And Sanella, we definitely want to bring you up to speed and hear your point of view on it as well. So we know we've had more than one incident, but the bigger one that the world will always remember, especially the Black and Brown community, is Tyree Nichols. We would love to hear your perspective and what you heard about the case and really how you feel as a mother as well, about this incident.
A very touchy um, topic for me. I kind of guide what I hear and listen to and expose myself to based on what I'm feeling at the time. My sympathy goes out for that parent, all parents who have experienced loss of their children. Um, I really have no words for that right now, to be honest with you, because it is kind of touchy for me. I'm still exploring and examining all the things that I'm hearing about it. I'm in utter shock about it, and yeah, I'm not just listening and observing and seeing, where could I fit in? What could I do? Where can I make a
Yeah.
change? Where can I offer some support at emotionally?
Absolutely.
Because I have no way to make that needed change right then, but I can help around some of the surface stuff, some of the effects that maybe you or other children may be going through. I can try to deal with that part.
Absolutely. I'm gonna say
Mhm.
personally, as a mother, of a son, I think that that it resonates different with me, because I have a son, and you just think about that because it can really happen to anyone. When we hear about these stories and we see these headlines in the news, it's people who are in utter shock because it's like, in disbelief. Like, I can't. Okay, it happened to this person, but how could this happen to me? So I think about that, and I think that really opens, conversations for me to have with my son, not only with my son, but with my daughter. I know that she may experience things different than my son. So I think that's definitely a conversation that I need to have, with my son.
Mm-hmm. And it's just a survival instinct that we have. We learn about survival at a very early age when you really think about it, because the way society views us, they don't view us really as humans still. When you really go back to when you have the first Africans that came here, or even after that, when they started making these um, amendments and laws and everything. But when you put in there in the Constitution, they're three-fifths of a person. I mean,
Hmm.
how do you make out of that? Like, what do you get out of saying that someone is three-fifths of a person? How does that resonate with you too, to hear that wording?
I think about, okay, growing up in the city, I was not exposed a lot to people other than people that look like me, right? So I didn't really get that exposed besides school, and then different professional environments, because that's what it was back then in the 80s. That's what it was. There were no people that looked like me that serviced me. There were not a lot of African American teachers, therapists, and so on and so forth. So when I think about that, and I think about now my interactions, I remember getting my first job at the hospital and my interactions, with them. I really didn't know how to, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess, but I would, experience different like microaggressions. Thinking back, you know, on it now, like I experienced little things at the time, like little comments that they would say. I think one day I got my hair braided, right, and it had the beads at the end. you know. So I want to say it was time for us to go out for lunch or something like that, my birthday. So I chose a place. And I remember one person saying in my office saying, okay, well, do I have to get my hair braided now and put beads on the end? So I remember just different things. Like I came in, I loved grits. I would come in with my grits packet and, you know, microwave, for breakfast. And I remember just different comments that were made about the
The
things that I
grits.
ate. Yes, yes. So looking back on it now, this is me being like 19. I think about these little microaggressions that were done, you know, and I don't even know whether it was done to be offensive, malicious, or maybe them just not knowing how to communicate with me either. Because maybe they had similar situations of not growing up with people of color. So I really don't know, but I know it was offensive. I look back on it now and I just see that it was really, for me, it was hurtful. When I see
Hmm.
now that I know like what was really going on,
Right.
it was hurtful. It was hurtful.
Hmm. Hmm. The offensive what is what though they don't see. So when you're thinking about the person that was speaking to you, if they're Caucasian, they don't even ask the right questions to gain knowledge. That's the thing too. I don't know if it's fear or it's just I'm just going to say something and see if the person says something back. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a combination of I'm superior, you're inferior. I can say what I want to you because you do still have the entitlement that goes on here, and we deal with that on an everyday basis, depending on how you're interacting and whom you're interacting with in society and what you're looking at.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's a tough place to be in. So, those that are listening and watching us this morning, don't forget to drop your comments as we go along, as we're talking, because again, this is definitely a heavy topic we're talking about. So, post traumatic slave syndrome, I do want to get in depth with it today. And as I promised, I will be reading excerpts from Dr. DeGurry's book. And I utilized this book in my dissertation because I wanted to get a better understanding of why we do what we do also against each other. And, when we're dealing with intra-racial discrimination, because that's what we're doing, because we're bringing it within, that's the problem we're dealing with. And that's a part of the trauma that we have experienced. So I'm going to read a few things. And of course, ladies, your comments, your feedback will be great as we go along with our dialogue. And those that are listening as well, please drop your comment on what you're hearing. Okay. So the first thing is a quote that she has here in her book. Racism, one of the most baneful and persistent evils, is a major barrier to peace. Its practice perpetuates to outrageous a violation of the dignity of humans beings to be countenanced under my pretext. Racism retards the unfoldment of the boundless potentialities of of its victims, corruptions its perpetrators, and blights human progress.
Mhm.
Resignations of the oneness of mankind, implemented by appropriate legal measures, must be universally upheld if this problem is to be overcome. This was written by the Baha Universal House of Justice in 1985.
Wow.
So, this, when you think about racism itself, how would you to define racism, and then what did you get out of what you heard based on this quote?
I would say, when I think of racism, I would just think that it's like a disease, because I just think about how it affects that person. It could affect their health, because they might not get the proper medical treatment because of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It can affect them economically because they may not get that job because of their skin color, right? I think of how it may affect their family. I think about with the court system, the family court system, the separation and all those things that are involved within that. I think that it spreads. It can spread
Yeah.
in every different phase and facet of your life. I think it could definitely be detrimental. It can be definitely detrimental to you. in your life, in your family's life, and just your lifestyle in general. I think about redlining as well. And the education
Mhm.
that our children might receive or may not receive because of racism and discrimination and the segregated school system, in which people don't think that they're segregated, but depending on your zip code, they actually are segregated. So all that stuff kind of comes to mind when I think about racism.
Yes. Sonella?
For me, I agree with Rajanta. Racism affects our entire lives because we are exposed to it, some of us on a daily basis. With me being inside of the walls of corrections, seeing a lot of racism there, from the officers to the inmates, racism amongst each other. You're my peer, but you feel some kind of way. I have the same degree as you, maybe even a higher degree than you, and you still won't
Hmm.
give me the respect. And it's
Hmm.
low key racism because you're not better than me, but you think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm showing more success rates than you are, and I'm not challenged or threatened by you, but
Hmm.
you are challenged and threatened by me if I uh, tend to express myself, my passion about how I feel about a certain situation. If it's not in agreement with you,
Hmm.
it doesn't work.
It's an angry black woman, right?
Yeah,
You're an
I'm an
angry black
angry
woman.
black
And
woman.
that's like I'm telling you, that's like a fine line between asserting yourself and not being looked at as angry,
Mhm,
right? It's a
mhm,
fine
Yes.
line. Because it's like
mhm.
once you assert yourself, it's like, oh, she's angry, she's defensive, she doesn't take direction well. Well, no,
Exactly.
like, am I not allowed to have an opinion,
Opinion.
right?
Mhm.
Am I not a professional like you? Do I not have as many credentials as you or more? So why is it
Mm-hmm.
that I finally got my seat at the table, so now I can't make decisions, but you
Can't
all
make
can,
decisions.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So
that's
I
important.
agree with you both. I agree with you both. I do think overall, when you think about us as Black people and our rich history that the world refuses to look at, but now it's being forced to be looked at, is that we are the best. We were
I was going
designed
to
that
say
way.
that they want what we have. And
Yes.
we, they want what
Yes.
we have, but it's a way to do that.
It
It's
is.
a way to do that because for the most part, I don't feel that we're gatekeepers. We keep information in. I feel that we will share it if it's going to be utilized in a way that we can all benefit from.
Mhm.
But they're so
Mm-hmm.
busy. We can have the idea, put it into practice, and then someone else of a
Mhm.
different persuasion or color gets the credit for it and may
Yep.
never even mention you, and you did
Mhm.
all the back work to make it possible. So what kind of race? That's not racism. Help me understand, because
Do you feel as though we have to work harder at things just because, like 10 times harder?
yes,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we're prepped for, even in our own households as we're growing up.
before we even get out the door, as we prepare
Yes.
our sons to
Yep.
Hmm.
go out into the world, as we get our daughters together to go out into the
Hmm.
world. All
Hmm.
this
That's right.
prep work that takes place in the home before we
Yes.
even get them out into
Yeah.
the world.
This is what you should say. This is what you should do. Do
This is
not
what
do
you
this.
shouldn't do. Yes.
Don't warm up no calories in the microwave. It's gonna smell at the office.
Don't bring
You have
no
to really
fish in,
don't bring
and
no fish
definitely
in.
That's
don't
right.
bring no grits in.
Listen, I learned personally.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But that's a different way of showing or continuing the racism. Go backwards now. Don't look at a white person in the eye, step off of the street if they're walking on it. Isn't that the same thing? It's
Hmm.
just in a different way. Do
Yes.
not speak to them unless they're talking to you. Even if they are talking to you, you can't look them in the eye because you eyeballing them. Come
Hmm.
on now. Come on with the rules now. But that's what we deal with. So
Mhm.
when you look at racism overall, it is an evil concept. It is something that was placed in society to keep one in control and the other in power, right? So even when you go back to basic things as labeling people, all right, we are labeled based on what we look like. So let's look at this even further. Now, here's the myth of racism: black, white, brown, yellow, red. Really? Those are colors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Am I right? But that's how it starts out. Okay, so let's move further now. We get titles. We're African, European, Asian, Native American,
Mm-hmm.
Hispanic, Latino, Pacific Islanders. Okay,
Or
but
other.
or other. Now let's go before those labels. We had Negroid,
Mm.
Caucasoid, and Mongoloid. You must know that white folks came up with this, all of these terms. We did not have these terms. We are
I was
who we
like,
are.
what's your mongoloid? Like,
Right.
That sounds like a monster to me. I don't know what that
It
is.
does sound like a
a
monster, don't it?
mongoloid?
Hmm.
Oh my goodness.
But these were the terms that they came up with, right? And James King, author of The Biology of Race. So remember that name, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
James King,
Mm-hmm.
the author of The Biology of Race, sums the discussion up. So this is what he said: race is a concept of society that insists there is a genetic significance behind human variations in skin color that transcends outward appearance. However, race has no specific merit outside of psychological classification, sociological classification. There are no significant genetic variations within the human species to justify the division of races. So that's what he was saying, that you can't justify based on what the person looks like. However, other scientists before that, and I got to find the scientist's name, who broke us down into categories. This is
Mm,
the same scientist who said Black people brains are small.
mm,
Okay.
that's
We
deep.
have no intelligence. So, Sanella and Rajanta, this is why
Mm-hmm.
you are still questioned about your credentials, because you are still inferior in the eyesight, regardless of your education. Your brain is smaller. Therefore, you can say what you're saying, but who's to say I believe you?
You know
So let
what?
me share it.
Yes. Yes. You got me ready
I
to fight.
remember
Right now.
when I got my credentials and I started sending out emails and things. I would never put my credentials on my paperwork. I ain't think anything of it. Here go Miss Johnson said, "Girl, if you don't put them them initials behind your name, you
All
weren't
of
looking
them.
for that. What is wrong?" But I felt that my concept was I'm not working in that I'm working in that capacity, but not at that current job. So my other job, I use it, but on my other one, my main job, I call it. They both my main jobs, but anyway, I would only use my first and last name. No, John was like, if you don't get them alphabets behind your name when you're sending out this paperwork, and it does make a difference
It
because
does.
when I'm sending something or I need to get someone to do something for me at one of those administrative offices,
Mm-hmm.
whether I'm calling for my personal or business with them, I feel like they receive it different
Mm-hmm.
because of my initials are behind my name. Shouldn't be like that. Even as far as contacting school, a friend of mine once had a problem at her son's school, and I found that me contacting the administrative over there to help her sister, it wasn't doing anything. Soon as I put them initials at the back of it, I'm a parent, she's a parent, you should respond to her in that same manner because I didn't ask for anything different than what she asked for. So
Mm-hmm.
why
That's it.
responding to her that way and me another way? But as soon as I put
Hmm.
initials behind it, she responded right back to me, had not even responded to the parent.
Mm.
Like, that's annoying to me because
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
not asking, it's not my child, I'm not asking for anything. I'm writing on behalf of this parent. But
Yeah.
including my credentials, the lady got
They
right
treated
back.
you different.
And guess what? That was us on us.
Mm.
Oh, here
It
we go.
happens. It happens.
Intraracial discrimination, right? But a couple of comments here. So I wanted to at least acknowledge our followers here. You know, we did build this entire country. Yes, we
Yes, we
did.
did. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did. But we don't get the credit of it. First of all, anyone, and we're gonna go back to Egypt real quick. Let's go back to Egypt. When you have seen the hieroglyphics, I don't care what nobody say, because you stole it off of the doggone pyramid and you brought it to America. And you mean to tell me I'm looking at brown people, but yet you say they white? Okay, maybe I'm crazy, but I see brown people. And guess what? The Moors were the ones sitting lower because they had them as the slaves. So a lot of people they don't realize that you have the Egyptians and the Moors. Now the Moors actually taught the Egyptians. They were the teachers. They went around in different areas. But when you think about Egypt, today, the pyramids, just focus on the pyramids, they have no idea mathematically how that was done.
Mm-hmm.
They still are trying to figure out that to this day. And that goes to, let me brush my shoulders off, Black people. All right. That shows you how our mind work, how powerful we are. Imhotep. Imhotep was your first medical doctor. He actually did procedures, but no one gives them the credit. So you have the Hippocratic Oath. No, it should be the Imhotep Oath. Okay, that's the truth. But I'm just going to speak it like it is, because today is truth telling day, and we're going to go there because that's what we need to. And to Sanella
Right.
and Rajanta, and even to myself, our followers said we worked on our credentials. We need to use it. We got it. We need to use it. So thank you. Yes, we do. So if they become afraid or they're inferior to it, that's their problem. It's not ours.
Problem.
We work for it.
That's their problem.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, be bold and force them to acknowledge us. That's what we have to do. Yes.
Said about, I'm sorry, not knowing about, how they built the pyramids, right? And I mean, still modern day, how we are so resilient and we do so many things, we wear so many hats that we're still being looked at as, wow, I don't know how she, when I hear people say, I don't know how
she did it.
as a, yes, I don't know how she does it as a single mom. I'm like, get up every day, put your pants on, send the kids to school. Like, listen, I have coworkers come to me now. Like, I don't know how you do what? Because guess what? I have no choice but to. I have no choice.
Okay.
But to,
make a way out of no way. We are so good at that. And that's what we were designed from the beginning as people who were going to be significant in this world, who pass a healthy history down. However, our history was blocked from us. Go back to school. What did they teach? Martin Luther King. They sure didn't teach Malcolm X. Tell me why. Why didn't they teach Malcolm X?
They would not.
Because he resisted the system. Absolutely. So if I teach the children to resist the system, they're going to resist us as well. You're right. He spoke the truth. I'm not going to knock Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm not going to do that. However, his method was so different. Okay, very different. And I understand why he went that method, but I understand why Malcolm went that method too. Because you're blocking us from letting us know who we are and why we're so significant in this world, why we brought what we brought with us. Listen, when you have slaves putting rice in their hair, because that's how they were surviving, I'm going to bring a part of my world with me. And they did that. So kudos to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we hear about these Martin Luther Kings, and it's a lot of people who really go unknown. There's a lot of people who really just, are just, falling by the wayside. And and I've learned about so many different people just this year, last couple of years, because, our story's not told. And I'm not sure whether this is because of the whole 1619 project that's coming out. People are doing more research, about our culture. But I love it. And I'm here for it all. I'm here for learning about, just different things. Even, just as newly as Juneteenth, that kind of enacted. And I'm like, I learned about that in 9th grade, but my mom had never known, It's a shame. It is definitely just how things are being hidden, and they don't want us to know and be proud of how far we've come.
Because what would happen if we knew?
Yeah.
So many confidence. Yes. so many changes,
Yes.
movements,
Mm-hmm.
growth.
Mhm.
If we would learn, we could share, we could teach each
Yep.
other,
Yep.
teach our children. So some of the things, remember we talked about how we learned a lot of our skills before we even left the house to go to school or go to various places, right? So now if we're able to teach earlier,
Yes.
they come out knowing just a little bit more prepared, and maybe we don't have to teach them in such a survival mode, because you're right, we still teaching them in survival mode.
Yes.
The
Yes.
Survival
goal is
mode.
not to teach
Right.
them. I want to live. That's what I've been saying lately. I
Mm.
want to live. I don't want to survive. I want
Yes.
to live. And I'm
Yes.
doing those things that are going to help me be able to live. And I'm teaching my children as
Yes.
well, my grandchildren as well, and all those who's connected to me, them, and everyone else.
Mhm.
Let's work on living and not surviving.
Yes, yes, and I do want to
Mhm.
credit the young people. The young people now are different. They're
Yes.
different. Um, they're different in a point where they are more vocal, right? They're way more assertive than we've ever been. They're creative. They're
Yes.
innovative. They're creating their own businesses, and even the leaders, such as like the Stacey Ingram, Abrams, Marcus Harrison Green, the new Justice Brown Jackson, who just came into the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just very thankful for people who are taking lead and who are paving the way, for us to kind of, keep on moving forward. I'm
How does
definitely.
that make
Mhm.
you feel, though? That's what I want to know. Because I always talk about you, Regina. I said,
Oh, no,
she,
no, thank you.
Regina is going to support her Black people. Like, oh, go ahead, Black man. Oh, go ahead, Black woman. That's her favorite
I'm
word.
just a
I
work in
love it.
progress. I'm a work in progress. I just think about just the people who have really paved the way for me, and people who have just really poured into me throughout my
Mhm,
life. Just
mhm.
coming where I come from. I'm from the project in Trenton, right? So I just think about just people who kind of took time out and kind of showed me just the little things, in life, how to cross the street properly, how to dress properly, how to, have my slip underneath my skirt,
Yeah.
how to fix my hair, with earrings, like all that.
Stepping stones, things that
Yes.
we needed. Stepping stones.
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
People don't know
Stepping
how to survive.
stones.
Sometimes, unfortunately, we were taught how to fight because we had to
Uh-huh.
survive, or
Uh-huh.
so that the next person wouldn't come and pick on us. You better have that one fight, because if you don't have that fight, somebody else gonna come.
And I think about
Yep.
the trauma that
The
is
trauma
kind of,
connected,
yes,
yes.
that's connected. I think about now people who used to just fight all the time.
Hmm.
How much
Mhm.
drama, how angry they were, and fighting to the
Yeah.
death. Okay, I mean ripping
Yeah.
shirts off, like earrings out the ear, slashing, that type of thing. I'm just thinking about just how much trauma they received at such young ages. To kind of just be that
Mhm.
way so young. You
Hmm.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
So
need to
Snella.
teach how to fight fair.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can have agreements. We need to learn how to have disagreements in a
Mhm.
fair way, and work on conflict resolution, and or agree to disagree, and just
Right.
we struggle with that, but we can start some of these things earlier in the home, the
Mhm.
right way.
The right way. I
You know,
agree. I agree. Educating and our history is important because that's our foundation, and then for the millennials, yeah, I do
we're
agree with
doing
this
the same.
comment. The millennials are doing their thing with creating multiple streams of income. They
Mhm,
really are. They
mhm.
are no joke right now, and furthermore, they are the ones getting out there fighting against the system by
Yes, they
speaking up.
are.
Black Lives Matter, that's why they're here, because it's their time. We had
Mhm.
Black Panthers before that, so it's their time. The civil rights movement, that was their time, so each generation have a time and they stepping up because they do want to combat the always in survival mode. So when you were talking about survival mode, I'm gonna go back to Dr. G's book. She was saying, what is this legacy, right? How is it transmitted? What she's talking about is PTSS. What
Mhm.
she further said was the legacy of trauma is reflected in many of our behaviors and our behaviors and beliefs that at one time were necessary to adopt in order to survive. That's what you're talking about, Sanella, the survival instinct, yet today serves to undermine our ability to success. So if we're always in survival mode, how can we be successful? I understand that
Mhm.
because we're always like, oh, I got to be in survival mode. Okay.
Yeah.
I get my education. Y'all, look, we all experience something differently, all three of us.
Mm-hmm.
We went up the ladder and got our degrees. But Sanella said what resonate with me. I didn't put my credentials behind my name, but yet our white counterparts do it immediately. And they get no well, I don't like what she's doing. Oh, why is she putting
Mhm.
her initials there? But as
Yeah.
soon as I do it, you do it, Sanella do it, our own community brings us down. And then guess what they do too? Follow suit. So
Mhm.
that whitewashing is
Mhm.
really also real. We are whitewashed on many levels. Okay. I was talking to a sister yesterday. She was sitting next to me in the nail salon place. Okay. Her locks, I told her locks were very beautiful because they are. I asked her, how many years have you had yours in? She said, 20 years.
Wow.
She said, but one thing about this, what locks did to me is broke me down and built me back up.
Mm.
Sanella, do you feel the same? Because I do. Because I had to realize I love me and I love my hair. It's not about other people. And I started out with barely nothing, right? Although my hair started out with my shoulders straight. But once I put those locks in, it told me, no, no, let me show you who you are. And let's start from the beginning.
So
And you'll
about
be
that. So about that. They
all right.
there is a
You must can relate. You can relate.
I can relate. Oh my God. I can relate. When I first got my life, I promise you, they call it an ugly period. That's what the people call it, an ugly period.
Yeah.
I was trying not to call it an ugly period. I promise you. But I found that I had to. Now I got to do my lashes. It makes you self-examine yourself for real. I had to do my lashes. I had
Yep.
to put lipstick on. Now I got to get some hanging earrings because my hair was like up here, like it was like that.
I
So
remember when you're not. I remember when they were
hanging
shorter.
earrings.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness! But it does give you the opportunity to re-examine yourself. And I started taking pictures every day. Yes, I love you, Sanella. I'm looking in my mirror right now. I love you, Sanella. You're so pretty. Ooh, look at you. I had to, and I got big into positive affirmations because I had to build myself up because I did
Yeah.
feel a little challenged with it.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
but I the locks
Yes.
Wow, this
situation.
is the
Yeah.
first I'm hearing. I know, like the locks, it's like a big deal. I remember when they were not socially appropriate or accepted
Right.
In the
in the
workplace.
workplace. Even
Mm-hmm.
though they have the new laws, the Crown Act, I really don't
At
think
the
that means
movies,
much.
at dinner, people
Yes,
looking at you strange, and you're in a
yes,
relaxed environment. So,
yes. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
just to be totally transparent, I struggle with that. I struggle with that with getting braids. I struggle with
hmm
that with getting braids and wearing braids to the workplace. That's something I've struggled with for years. Depending on where I work, it's crazy.
hmm
Depending
hmm
on where I work, you are definitely frowned upon by your hairstyles, and I've seen it firsthand. I actually had a girlfriend ask me because she had natural hair. She asked if that was kind of getting in the way of her even getting a promotion. Because people look at that,
Wow.
people associate that different styles, like oh, this is ghetto or that's ghetto, and that's something that, to be honest, like I struggle with, my hair in
So
different
I'm gonna
Okay.
tell
styles.
you, it not only goes to hair, it goes to clothes too,
Yes.
because
Yes.
your attire does play a role. But I'm so confident. I like I like to dress the way I like to dress. I'm very comfortable, and I feel that in the field that I work in, I guess working with children, sometimes I have to get down on the ground with them, and I like to be comfortable. I want to get down there with them. I
Mhm.
want to. Sometimes you might need to cry on me. I'm that type of therapist. I want to be able to for you to do that,
Yes.
or because that's how I am, and I'm not going to change that.
Hmm.
But I can say the I've worked in places where that may not have been so accepting, but I'm sorry, I'm fully licensed, capable,
Hmm.
qualified, and I'm going to dress and I will always be professional. However, I'm going to do what makes me comfortable. Because just go look at my success rate.
How about that?
There you go.
Just go
There
look
you
at
go.
that, and then
Yes.
you're going to agree. And I believe where I'm at now, I believe they've learned that. They probably wasn't sure, but
Mhm.
it's okay because I am qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And look at my success rate.
That's right.
And bring your
Yes.
children to me because they want me.
Yes. Yes. Rajanta, I want to just ask you this question, and I, of course, I know you give very honest answers, but whitewashing, do you believe that you're conditioned at times?
Yes. I
Okay.
To be totally transparent, I do. I think about that just because, like, why do I feel as though I can't get braids in the workplace? Like, why do I
Yeah.
still feel this way that, I would be uncomfortable? And you know what? It all depends on how many people of color in that workplace. Now I work with
Yeah.
a lot of people of color, so I feel comfortable getting braids, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but if I worked in another capacity where it was the other way around, I really wouldn't feel comfortable, confident, or comfortable, just because of the stigma that kind of goes along with it. Because I
Yes.
see it and I hear it. You know,
Yeah.
just me just trying to strive and work on my career. I think that at certain points and moments in my life that may have kind of interfered with me kind of getting those promotions or me kind of blending in, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate, but I've kind of struggled with it for like a long time. And I see my friends wearing braids. I'm like, damn, you wear braids to work? You wear That's what I said. You wearing braids to work? Yeah, I worked for this company. The founder was like, she had braids, and after the interview, I said, I love your braids. When I see people with braids and work, I'm like, I love your braids. Especially, educated, powerful women. I'm like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I was just wondering, and in our comments also, uh one of our followers agreed. She said, I'm scared to wear braids in the corporate office. I feel like I will need to mentally prepare myself for all the questions and looks. Yeah, you're right, etc. It does come with that. However, I'm going to challenge this thought also for the both of you. One thing we have to always remain is confident in ourselves, and we got to find that self-confidence and that self-love. What we have to also realize is that from the moment our folks got here, and let's just isolate women in general because it's Women's Month anyway. So the Black women that got here, the beauty, not only with their hair, but their looks and everything. White women were always jealous of these women. So when you talk about locks, a lot of them probably had the locks, but they called them dread because they dreadful, because they didn't like what they look like. But let's put it where it belongs. It's the ignorance of why this have gone from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next about our hair. Why are we questioning our beautiful hair? Why do we throw perms in it? Why? We
Mhm.
all been there probably with perms in our hair, but that's the conditioning to look in the mirror and say, I don't like the way my hair looks because a white person told me that. The commercial told me I need to have straighter
Straight,
hair.
straight, luxurious, silky,
Yes.
I'm
Silky
guilty.
hair. All
silky, and
right.
don't even hold
Right.
anything.
Madam CJ Walker, yes, the first
Mhm.
millionaire, right? But she also conditioned us to believe that our hair had to be conditioned, straight. Yeah, you can straighten it with the straightening hair comb, but you're telling me that my natural
Mhm.
curl state that is in is not good enough. So we become conditioned to that. So the conditioning is what we need to come up against. So, sisters, I'm telling you, find your self love, find that, center yourself, and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I will no longer be conditioned by this society because I am beautiful. What I bring, you bring power, and you make sure that crown you wear on your head is not tilted. It needs to be straight. and put it up there straight. You have to do that, because if you don't, you will continue to be whitewashed. You will continue to dislike yourself, and that we don't need any longer. Remember, we got little girls behind us coming up. I got my granddaughter coming up, and a lot of the times she looks at her own skin tone because others have pointed it out to her. But I tell her every day, I love you and you're beautiful, because she is beautiful in the state she's in, and she shouldn't have to change for nobody else. No one.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would like to read this comment before we move further too. Our different shades of skin is beautiful. Agreed. Our different texture of hair is beautiful. I agree with that too. Our body shapes are magnificent, and we are royal people.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
We are. We are. Please believe it.
Yes.
Please believe it. Because again, we have been conditioned. The post-traumatic slave syndrome that we deal with is why we do what we do. So let's talk about healing a little bit, move into that, from that to healing. So when we heal, we need to build self-esteem, what we were just talking about, self-love. We got to do that first. Love thyself before you can love another. All right. Love thyself. This is what I also go through when I'm talking to some of my clients. Love yourself first before you can love someone else. Build you. Take control. Take control of your inner world. Again, that goes back to you, your inner self. What bothers me about me? What traumatizes me? That's also understanding your triggers. What are my triggers? What triggers me about Sanella's hair? If I was the other Black woman looking at you, why am I triggered about her? No, because I like her hair, and I need to admit that.
Exactly.
She has courage to wear that. Let's talk the real truth now. She has courage to wear it, but I admire that, but I will bring her down because I need to bring her with me. No, we will challenge that. No, honey, ask me how I did it. I will teach you
I
what
will
to do.
teach you what to do.
And then you can
done that.
Yes, I like that.
Okay.
Just ask.
Teach what to do. That's because we're teaching people.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people are afraid to ask for help. I think it goes back to afraid to ask, even afraid to compliment someone.
Yes. Afraid to
But what
compliment.
about the other side of that is some of us don't even know how to receive a compliment.
Yeah, I was there. Long time. Don't know why. I don't even know how I got there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no clue.
You were there.
I got there some type of way where I did not receive compliments, and I would be shy back. I put my head down because when people would walk up to me in New York City and say, "You're a beautiful girl," do you know I would go to the mirror and say, "What are they looking at?" Because I didn't know what they were saying and why they were saying it. Now I grew into myself and say, yes, I am a beautiful person inside and out. But I had to believe that. So you're right. We don't know how to take a compliment. Telling the truth. Okay, who truth tellers? Or all of y'all, put it in the comment. If you're a truth teller, go ahead and say I'm a truth teller. Are you a truth teller? Yes.
I'm a truth teller.
I think sometimes when we tell a truth, like it can be looked at, oh, you're nasty. Oh, she's being nasty. She's being rude. I think it's all in a way that you say it, like nice, something.
Yeah. It's the delivery, and
it's the
sometimes
delivery. Yes.
we do have to tell each other the truth. Sister, I saw what you had on today. I need to talk to you. If it's too revealing, or it's I seen a lady, she had a dress on, and I just said to myself, I want to approach her, because you don't know, though. Sometimes you got to think, if I approach this person, will they find it insulting? You never know how it's taken, that you're trying to help the person, but they push back and say, why are you talking to me like that? No. But it's not that. I want the world to see, or society to see, that you love yourself enough, and I love you enough to come and tell you, or I care enough to come and tell you, because I would want you to tell me. Right. And we also have to be truthful with ourselves. If we're mean to another sister, come on, look at yourself and why you mean to that sister. Why you talking to her like that?
What is it that you may not like about yourself that you see in that person?
Thank you.
and work it out.
Thank you.
That's
Work
right.
it out.
That's
Work
right.
it out. Look
Mhm.
at yourself in the mirror and say, why do I not like this other sister who looks like me, who has complimented me on many occasions, but
Mm-hmm.
yet I don't give her a compliment back, nor I say thank you to her? What
Mm-hmm.
is it that I am doing wrong?
Mhm.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
That's right.
Check
Okay?
yourself.
Check yourself. Tell your own story, tell your narrative. If you are a person that's gone through some level of trauma and you find someone you can trust, because not everybody you can trust, you find someone you can trust to talk to, tell your narrative, tell your story, get it off your chest so you can now begin to know what it means to live. Okay, find
Mhm.
a therapist that you see that looks like you. And, in that first 5 minutes, remember, you would know if your energy exchange is real. You would know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always talk about energy because we are beings, we're spiritual beings. Therefore, our energy will bounce off of each other and it will connect too. So when it does that enmeshment, it's because your spirits are enmeshing. And then that's when you know, all right, I can really work with this person. Seek
Right.
therapy, tell your story,
Mm-hmm.
tell it. Faith and religion. How important is that, ladies? Faith and religion.
Very. Very. Faith and religion doesn't always have to be. Sometimes it can just be spiritual.
Mhm.
Like you can have a spiritual awakening. Some
Yes.
people believe that you
Yes.
have to be a certain type, like it has to be a name for like you have to be Catholic, you have to be Baptist. No, you can be spiritual, and
Hmm.
spiritually grounded. Because sometimes you can go to church, every week, and you kind of not be balanced. Sometimes you just go on with the flow.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yes.
ritual routine. It's very important. It kind of keeps us because driven. It keeps us motivated. Just knowing that there's a higher
Hmm.
power, there's someone kind of looking out for us that's bigger than us. I'm a firm believer that my ancestors really, really kind of look out for me. They really kind of guide me. They guide my life. They kind of help me. They help my family. That's something that
Hmm.
I firmly believe in.
So
Yeah.
for me, faith offers me a source of hope there. So as long as I keep on working on building on my faith, or you know, depending on hoping for different things like that, but I rely on my faith a lot to get me to different points of spirituality is major for me. I pray a lot because there's a lot of things that are bigger than me, many things that are bigger than me that I just cannot handle. I know I can't, and I'm relying on my faith to guide me and direct me on the ways that I need to go.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
that's very important to me. My faith,
Yes.
spirituality.
Religion, for me, I agree with you both. It is very important. And this is why in our homes, during one generation to the next, we learn what the significance of religion is. It takes us through the hardest times. We can pray to God and say, help me, guide me to where I need to go.
Hmm.
And get you from one space to the next. We don't have the answers. We
Hmm.
don't. But faith, it does. Like there's two comments that I like to read that I'm going to get to in just a second. Actually, three of them. And we are so powerful, but
Hmm.
we're given that through God. That's why we're powerful the way we are. We're chosen to be these magnificent people who are from the earth. We look like the earth. So there's a reason why we're here. It's a reason why we're forgiving people, all of those things. And I love that about our spirits and love that about what God gave us, that we
Hmm.
are forgiving.
Yes.
And we have these things that we go through, but we also know that we can love and forgive. So
Absolutely.
religion helps us through also our trauma. So a couple of comments I'm gonna go through before we get to the end of our show. um Haters are seen more in you. Haters see more in you than you do. That's why the hate. They see something that they want in themselves.
Hmm.
Amen. I agree with that. um so many jewels are dropped in this discussion. I'm gonna watch it again. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So I'm glad that a lot of things resonate today and a lot of information was given to you. Faith grounds me. Faith gives me hope and grace to be light and dark in light in dark places for myself and others. Being brutally honest, truth telling, yes, telling the truth. Yes, we are spiritual beings trapped in this fleshly body.
Yeah.
Amen. We are. We
Yes.
are. So today, I learned a lot from you two ladies. I learned a lot from our listeners and our followers today, too. PTSS, we have it.
Mhm.
Trauma is what we have, and it's layers of trauma that we go through. It is important to understand what PTSS is, post traumatic slave syndrome, and why we may behave the way we do against each other. I didn't get a chance to bring the Willie Lynch letter in, but we will do that our next show, because we should also have a guest that we're going to be talking to about her traumas and dealing with a loss, and we're going to talk about that even more. So we will delve more into the division of us and how that happens, and what happens to us and how we break down.
Mhm.
Sanella, before the end of our show, though, I know we wanted to get back to Women's Month. So I want you to drop some jewels on to us about Women's Month, and also, why being allies is important.
Excuse me. I don't have much on Women's Month this month. Why do you always laugh and smile when I say that?
Look, I know
I
something
do.
gonna come.
Because she's going to drop something awesome in a minute. That's what I'm getting ready for.
So no, well, I just wanted to kind of round up by saying that, what we do every other week, or once, twice a month, whatever, is we are allies to each other. We discussed
Yes.
that prior to this. We are allies to each other. You had a idea, you searched for support, sought support. We offer support, and we have been supportive to each other. That is important for us to be supportive to each other, as well as reaching out to other women who could utilize the support that we have to offer. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we already established from the beginning that we're queens. Well, first of all, we're blessed by God. He knew us before we even was born here, so we were totally blessed from the very beginning. Once we were in our mom's wombs, and then we developed, we grew. We're queens now, aspiring to be queens for the younger people out there, aspiring to be the top, to be the best, to be professional, to be respected, to be loved. But to get all those things, we're going to need each other, which is why we need to form alliances with each other so that we can grow. We can't be gatekeepers. Oh, I got my degree and you don't have yours. No, how about I got my degree? Let me show you how to get yours. Or
Mhm.
you even got the degree, you don't have your license for whatever reason. Let me show you how to get it.
Mhm.
You're trying to buy a house. Let me show you how to get it. You're trying to buy a
Mm-hmm.
car. Refinance a car. You're trying to raise your children.
Mhm.
You're trying
Mm-hmm.
to services. You're trying to do whatever you need to do. It's all in the house. We need to be able to help each other
Absolutely.
willingly, not because we are forced.
Mhm.
With loving kindness will I draw thee. We have to love on each other more and stop
Absolutely.
backbiting. I'm so annoyed with the backbiting. If I got it, I want you to have it.
Mhm.
And if you got it, you should want me to have it. Because if we put it all together, we big. We can't be stopped.
That's right.
We cannot be stopped. We have so much to offer. We have so much love to give. Let's work on it. We got
Absolutely.
this. We already have the tools because we've been this. We have our personal experiences. We have our professional experiences. We have our. We just have a whole wealth of information. We even got social media. What the heck? We don't even really want it. Yeah, I mean, it's beneficial, but it's so many resources out there. Let's
Absolutely.
put it all together. Let's travel together. Let's bring our kids. Let's party together. Let's go to church together. Let's do all
Mm-hmm.
these things, and there's different friends for different things. You don't
Yes.
have to stay
Yes.
in one area. It's a whole lot out
Yes.
So let's love on each other. We could do it.
Yes.
We already started. Let's continue.
That's right. Let's continue. Let's move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And Rajanta, you have your business,
Yeah.
to help other people. And this is the platform where you got to keep doing this, keep talking about what you do. Sanella,
Mm-hmm.
you too, as you keep on going, this is for us together. As we are allies, we're allies for a reason. We came into each other lives for a reason, to support and
Absolutely.
move forward and help others.
Yeah.
So utilize this platform to recruit people, whatever you're doing. Okay, I'm running a group. Like, I have candid conversations. When I reboot Candid Conversations, I'm going to recruit as many people as I can possibly to tell them, hey, you follow us. How about you come and sit with me personally to continue to talk in a circle of women who want to do something and move forward.
Cool.
These two
Absolutely.
women that I work with right now on this show, they can drop in anytime to say, hey, you know what? I want to go to April's group because I want to see what these women are doing. Let me see what I can drop on them or what
Mm-hmm.
they can give me. You
Mm-hmm.
never know. But this is what we're here for.
Yes.
Rajanta, what is your last words for today?
I want to say Happy Women's History Month. I want to say that we don't get honored enough on the many hats that
Yeah.
we wear. Right, even when we're tired, we make a way out of no way. We're able to get educated now. We're able to work outside the home now. We're able to vote now. Just the many contributions that we're able to make as women, just kind of being able to come together a lot more. And it's easier said than done because some women don't like other women for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
just being able to kind of to work through those issues, so we're kind of able to support each other more, and just think about just how great we've become. I got a lot of great girlfriends, and I appreciate each
Yes.
and every one of them. And I appreciate you
Mm-hmm.
too. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And I'm going to end our show, but I'm going to end it with this wonderful comment. It says, we're a force when we're together.
Yes.
That is the truth. We are a force when we are together, and no one can stop us when we are coming together at the table, because there are some powerful Black women that we see in front of us that
Yes.
are in Congress, then in other areas in our lives, just on the basic level that we're at, and we are powerful too. So let's continue to put our power out there. And I just want everybody to enjoy being them. Remember to find your Zen. Remember
Yes.
to do self healing. Remember a lot of the words that these two women talked about today as well, about loving yourself, understanding also your triggers,
Hmm.
being more honest with yourself of what's going on, and you will be a better person to yourself and a better sister to somebody else. So remember that we love you. We give you this knowledge because we need to do this for you. So we are allied to you, man and woman. Those of you that follow us, we are your allies. We are here to help our community heal, and we love the fact that you follow us, and then you're listening to us, and you come back and you hear what we got to say. So until next week, next 2 weeks, really, until 2 weeks from now, we're looking forward to talking to you all again. You have a wonderful weekend, and you
Yes.
too, y'all have a wonderful weekend as well.
You.
Mm.
And thank you all for all that you do, and keep serving our community. Thank you,
Yes.
ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
Have a
you.
good one, everybody.
Okay. Bye bye.